The story of the dirham begins long before the creation of the United Arab Emirates and the modern UAE dirham. For centuries across the Arabian Peninsula, the term dirham was used to describe a silver coin, a unit of trade and a measure of value. The origins of the dirham can be traced back to ancient Persia, where the drachma influenced early Islamic coinage. As Islam expanded, the dirham became a widely accepted currency across the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of Asia, and over the centuries. It evolved in weight purity and design, but always remained a symbol of commerce and culture. By the 14th century, around the year 1315, the use of silver-based dirhams was common in many regions of the Islamic world, including the territories that make up the modern United Arab Emirates. At that time, the area was part of a larger network of trading ports along the Gulf Coast, known for exchanges with India, Persia, East Africa, and beyond. Merchants relied on silver coins, including various forms of the dirham, as well as foreign coins like Indian rupees, Persian coins, and gold dinars. The dirham of this period was not a national currency, but a term used to measure value in marketplaces. Pearls, spices, textiles, and frankincense moved through thriving coastal towns, and the dirham was one of the monetary units used to price and exchange goods. In the centuries that followed, regional trade continued to flourish. By the 16th and 17th centuries, European powers, such as Portugal and later Britain, became involved in Gulf trade. Their influence brought new currencies into circulation, and the dirham as a coin became less standardized, although the word survived in trade terminology. In the 18th and 19th centuries, the Trucial States, the precursors to the modern UAE, used a variety of foreign currencies. The Indian rupee especially became dominant because Britain administered trade through India. As pearl diving expanded and Gulf trade increased, the rupee system strengthened, with the silver Gulf rupee becoming the official currency of the region by the mid-20th century. By the early 20th century, no single local coinage existed in the Trucial States. Instead, people used the Indian rupee, the Gulf rupee, the Maria Theresa thaler from Austria, and coins brought through trade networks. The idea of a national currency had not yet emerged because the nation itself had not been formed. The year 1971 changed everything, when the United Arab Emirates was established as a federation of 7 emirates. With the rise of national identity came the need for a stable national currency that would unify trade, banking, and financial systems across the young country. In 1973, the UAE Dirham was officially introduced, replacing the Qatari Riyal and Dubai Riyal, which had been circulating in different emirates. The new currency symbolized unity, economic independence, and progressive development. The dirham was chosen as the name because of its historical connection to the region, linking the new nation with centuries of Arabian trade and cultural heritage. The early UAE dirham coins and banknotes featured Islamic designs, Arabic inscriptions, and national emblems. Over time, new security features, improved design elements, and updated imagery reflected the country's rapid modernization. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, the UAE economy transformed, driven by oil exports, infrastructure development, and global trade, and the dirham became a stable and respected currency in the Middle East. Financial institutions, expanded trade routes grew, and the dirham gained strength as the country became a major global hub. By the early 1990s, the UAE dirham had become firmly established as the currency of a fast-growing nation, trusted across international markets and supported by the stability of the UAE government and its monetary policies. By 1995, the dirham had undergone updates in design and security, but its core identity remained the same: a national currency rooted in centuries of regional history, economic tradition, and cultural heritage. From the early silver-based dirhams of the medieval Islamic world to the official modern currency of the United Arab Emirates, the story of the dirham is a journey of trade culture, unity, and development. It represents the connection between the ancient past and the modern. Achievements of the UAE, a symbol of stability, progress, and national pride. If you want, I can expand this further to create a full 2-hour script with deeper detail on each century or add narration-style language for your video. As the story of the dirham continues, it is important to understand that the lands of the modern United Arab Emirates were shaped by centuries of cultural exchange and economic movement, and the dirham in its older forms was always tied to these interactions. Long before the modern nation was established, the coastal settlements of Ras Al Khaimah, Fujairah, Sharjah, Ajman, Al-Quwain, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi were connected to vast trading networks that stretched across oceans and deserts. The dirham, in its medieval and early modern meanings, served as both a monetary unit and an expression of value in a world where trade was based on trust, reputation, and long-standing relationships. Between the 14th century and the 19th century, merchants in the region used different types of dirhams depending on which traders arrived at their ports. Some dirhams were minted in Persian cities, others came from the Indian subcontinent, and some were produced in other parts of the Islamic world. The lack of a unified local mint meant that currency flowed freely according to trade routes rather than national borders, and this made the region highly flexible in its economic life. Throughout this period, the dirham was not a fixed coin, but a concept tied to measurement of silver content and a standard for trading everyday goods as well as luxuries. The pearl trade was one of the most important industries in the Gulf for many centuries, and it played a major role in shaping the use of currency. Pearls harvested by skilled divers were transported to markets in India, Persia, Europe, and even as far as China, and the value of pearls was often negotiated in dirhams or their equivalents. Merchants were familiar with multiple currencies and exchanged them with ease, allowing commerce to flow smoothly across regions even without a central authority issuing a single coin. During the 19th century, political changes influenced the monetary landscape as British involvement in the Gulf increased. The British sought to stabilize trade routes and protect their interests, and the Indian rupee became the primary currency in many Gulf ports, including those in the Trucial states. The rupee was reliable, easy to recognize, and trusted by traders, so its acceptance spread quickly. Even though the dirham had deep historical roots, the population became accustomed to the rupee system because it simplified international trade. However, the idea of a local identity and a connection to older traditions meant that the cultural memory of the dirham never disappeared. Families, merchants, tribal leaders, and scholars continued using the term dirham in conversations, contracts, and negotiations, even when the physical coins varied. Over time, the region experienced major developments. The discovery of oil in the mid-20th century brought dramatic economic transformation, and the need for a strong local currency became increasingly important. As revenue from oil began to rise, the Trucial states moved toward cooperation, eventually forming the United Arab Emirates in 1971 with the goal of unifying not only the people and the land, but also their financial systems. Within 2 years, the leaders established the UAE Dirham as the nation's official currency, bringing back a historic name that reflected continuity with the region's past. The creation of the dirham marked a turning point in the country's modern history, as it allowed the new federation to manage its own economic policy control, monetary supply, and present a unified identity to the world.